Hi, my name is Ade, and welcome to another video tutorial from The Voice Coach.
These arms of mine, they are lonely, lonely and feeling blue. Sam Cooke, undoubtedly one of the greatest singers of all time. Hi, I'm Ade, aka The Voice Coach, and this is another one of my episodes of the X Factor singing tips by me, The Voice Coach, where I give some of my opinions into some of the performance of the week, give some insight into technical approaches that you can make towards improving on some of the performances, and giving you tips on how you could better some of the things that the singers do on there. And of course, I look at the decisions that the judges make, work out whether or not they sent the right people home, and essentially give you my opinion of what it would be like if hashtag I was a X Factor coach. So this week was boot camp, and I think boot stands for getting booted off, because they were ruthless this week. Cheryl, let's talk about Cheryl. She sent home Shanae and Orla, who I was so surprised by, because I think Orla was one of definitely the contenders, and I know it was the pressure was on her up there and you're making decisions that you wouldn't otherwise make, but do your homework. What can I say? In my humble opinion, Orla should have definitely stayed around. And Simon, as far as Simon's concerned, his big mistake was definitely Janet Grogan. Now I know I have an interest in Janet Grogan because I worked with her in Hammelburg a couple of years ago, but she's a fantastic singer, and I think she would have been definitely one of the contenders going through the show. And you know, of course, the Irish vote is always constant, so she would have been popular with the Irish viewers. That's all I can say on that subject. But the big question is, what was Louis doing? I mean, he had the hardest category in terms of groups are not always the easiest to judge. But first of all, I have to say that the new boys group that they put together, 8 singers, I didn't think it would work, but some really good voices in there. And there are a couple of singers in there that you will know that I chose as my performance of the week a few weeks ago. And they're definitely, as a group, contenders this week. But the way that the crowd took over and had Louis running around like a headless chicken was fantastic TV. It was just like an episode of The Hunger Games. But at the end of the day, the result was that the new girl group went through, and I think that at the end of the day, the right decision was made thanks to people power. So here we go with the performance of the week. What a tough week this was. There were some really good performances. Lauren Platt, powerhouse vocal performance. Ben Haynow, really, really good performance. Great rasp in his voice. Technically, though, there are some areas that he needs to work on to have a consistent, authentic tone, and to preserve his voice. He needs to be very careful about the way in which he shapes and forms his vowels. I think that, again, Andrea Fastoni performed to perfection, to the point that he had Cheryl, he turned her into a blubbering idiot this week. It was a great performance, a great song, and a great song choice. And lastly, the boy group, the 8-part boy group with no name at this moment in time, they really impressed. And between Andrea and the boy group is what I'm looking at. And this week I'm going to give it to the boy group, not because they were better than Andre, because his vocal was fantastic, but that I thought that it was a really good song performance for a band of singers. What it did was showcase each of their individual voices to the degree that you got a sense of who they were, which is a mistake some of the other groups made when they did their performances. They sang songs that only showcased them as a unit, and sometimes they just sounded like one continuous vocal with no identity and no dynamics, no dimension. So I think it's really important that they pick the right song. So performance of the week this week goes to the boy band with no name. Okay, so this is the point where we start to look at some of the vocal performances of the week and get into what technically we can do to improve on our overall delivery. This week I'm going to deal with two specific issues that have come up a couple times. One of them being the issue related to nervous energy and what we do with that nervous energy and to make sure that it doesn't take us off our game plan. The other one we're going to look at is transitions and the use of tone movement when going through your range, the different points in your range. First of all, we're going to look at the issue of nervous energy and look at the performance of Lauryn and of Fleur, who both gave really good performances this week, and it, particularly in Lauryn's case, gave a really good vocal delivery. But there were times during the song where the nervous energy makes you try too much and makes you forget about the lyrics, the performance, and actually delivering an authentic experience for the consumer. So it's important when you perform that you have a really focused approach to how you sing from before you come into the stage, and that you keep focus on that, not letting that nervous energy run away from you, because it can make you push your vocal a little bit too hard sometimes, so that the quality in tone and the placement and the dynamics tends to get lost in the emotion and the situation. So nervous energy is one to watch. Okay, so let's also look at the issue related to tone translation and transitioning when you're moving through your tones and moving through your register. There are two vocalists this week I want to take a look at. Paul Akister, who did the Sam Cooke song, which required use of husky, what I call bass tone, and alongside that a clean, sweet falsetto. And there was one point during the song where Paul had troubles moving from the full voice husky tone into this soft, subtle falsetto. And it's the point at which you choose to transition from the full voice to the top note. If you leave it until the last minute, it's almost like you're a high jumper and you're running up to the bar and you wait until you get under the bar until you lift and you run and you're going to hit your head. You need to start making your ascent before you get to the bar, like 3-4 notes out. And I think that's very important to how you approach the transitioning thing. And on the other end of the scale, you had Raign, who, although she went out this week, this is probably one of her better performances, but however, the same problems existed in terms of the quality of tone and the continuity between her bright and mid-tones when she went down to those bottom notes, the actual roundness and fullness of the sound and way which is created. Her throat is quite closed, which means you don't get the real depth in the sound, and it means that she needs to think about how the sound and the tone is created by controlling it with the vowel. So really open up the throat and really use the vowels to control that. And what we'll do now is give a demonstration of transition and tone so that you can see them in context. Okay, so what we're going to do here is look at the issue of tone formation and development and the issue of transition that address both the performance of Raign and Paul Akister to a degree. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a song that wasn't performed on the show this week and give you an idea of how that would work in context with a song that requires good, rich, round bottom notes and light, sweet falsetto tone. Now we'll break it down into sections. We'll deal first of all with the formation of the sound and the vowel and the authenticity of the lower register. So the placement and the facial expressions and the shape of the vowels is very important to the bottom register. And what we were getting with Raign is a closed throat rather than an open, relaxed one. So the song we're going to do is we addresses it in this way. Bottom note side that's formed like this. Oh, why don't you believe me? So the way in which you move through the words and the actual pronunciations is you're over-exaggerating certain vowels and you're making sure that you don't stay too heavy on it. So you move forward and back with the projection, so the velocities adjust. So you don't want to sing one straight, oh, why don't you believe me? You have to move it around. Oh, why don't you believe me? And next part, someone really must have hurt you bad. So you're moving around all the time. You're not staying on one progression and one projection the whole time, which means that it sounds continually engaging to the audience, and they can't predict what you're going to do next. But it also allows you the ability in your vocals to keep control of everything that's going on, so that when you move through and transition up to your top notes, you're not stuck in your round registers. So what happens when you move up through, we'll go back from that point. Someone really must have hurt you bad. No, why don't you believe me? 'Cause you're the best. And I'll stop there, because what we're going to do now is go from what I said. We're going for that high jump part now, and we're not going to wait until we get underneath note to hit the bar. We're going to get to that note from quite some way out and transition our way up through, so that we sing, someone really must have hurt you bad. No, I would never leave you, 'cause you're the best thing I ever had. My love, it's strong enough, so that you're moving through to your falsetto from way down, so that you don't sing, 'cause you're the best thing I ever had, because that's just harsh. You want to get it in control and in context, so it doesn't sound like you're softening the notes in direct contrast with the note that came before. So you're singing, 'cause you're the best thing I ever had, my love. And that's how you would get transition and placement and tone movement without there being direct and opposite kind of projections. Of course, you would also, to some degree, use mic technique, but actually controlling your velocities in your own voice is the first control mechanism that you need to try and embrace as part of the transition thing. Hi, thank you for tuning in to another episode of my video tutorials. Remember, you can check out my YouTube channel, where you will see all of the tutorials and all the techniques that I discuss here and more. And you can catch that on this address below me. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and you can purchase my videos by going to this website here, and you will get examples of all the different techniques that I teach, and be able to download the tutorials that come with study guides and song studies for you, so that you can actually practice in your own. And of course, you can, if you like, book private lessons with me. Please share this on all of your social platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and make sure you look out for my next one next week, as we go into what is now the judges' houses. Things are about to get live.